replace God. Evolution is a result of random events, mutations of genetic structures that are acted upon through the process of natural selection. Random event, it's random. There's nobody guiding anything. The implication is the origin of humans is random, is a random, unplanned event of nature that serves no purpose. Therefore, the human species is not any more valuable than any other species on the earth. If you believe in evolutionary theory, or macroevolutionary theory, why do you think you're more important than a horse? Or a flea, for that matter? What gives you importance? Yes, Bill?
Because we have the ability to dominate the lower species.
That's a physical fact. But it doesn't make you better than them. Better, higher, being more ethical, all the positive attributes. You just got luck in the draw, didn't you?
It gives us, we have the ability to be more moral in any way you want to think about it than a horse or a lion.
Let's go back. Morality has no fundamental structure without some teacher, guiding hand of God, what are we going to call it, supreme being. You don't have a basis for your
You're assuming that, but that's not true.
What is your basis for morality?
You just admit it when you're saying that the atheists, you know, are as more or less.
I did not admit it. I'm asking you, what is your basis for it? Why are you immoral? I mean, I assume you are.
Because of the social contract has become a part of you.
Social contract. And what is that social contract? Where is that written, or where does that come from?
Social contract is that if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. If I'm nice to my fellow man, I will.
The golden rule.
Me and my family will survive better if I treat other families nicer.
Yeah, that was Jesus. That was Jesus'
come and help me. It takes a village to raise a family. That kind of thing.
That's a Clintonism.
Yeah.
Now look, I'm just saying, you have come up with a moral code that sounds really good, no question. There's no foundation for it, though. You have no reason for it. You're talking about a contract. It's just like you said.
Without it, we wouldn't survive. The same as the wolf pack has a foundation for it, because without the leadership, without the alpha wolf being in charge, the alpha male, and the way they have it set up, the wolf pack would not survive. And so there is a foundation for it.
Yeah, it's called survival of the fittest in the wolf pack. I agree with that. It's instinctive in the wolf. I understand. You're not doing things instinctive to you. You're doing things you learn.
No, it's part of it, instinct. If it is instinct, it's bred into us, the same as dogs. Certain dogs, it's bred into be friendly and receptive. Other dogs are bred into an instinct called instinct, but it's a different instinct. The instinct of a retriever is
There's
much
no
different.
foundational moral code to evolutionary theory. I don't care. You can talk about social contract. I'm talking about foundational, what's right and what's wrong. You don't have it. Nobody does without some basis for it. You go back and say, well, I believe it's in the ancient writings of the Sumerians. Okay, fine. That's your basis for it. Yes.
I'll give you my opinion.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Before there was agriculture, we had hunter-gatherers. And during that time, I think there was very little morality. But once we had agriculture, then you had people living together in societies. And in order for societies to progress and be successful, they had to develop a code of laws. That code of laws is the morality we see today. So human morality is not based on any holy book. Not for me, it's based on human experience. Following certain laws, following certain laws that we have documented in all societies today is the best way for societies to progress.
Okay.
And that's
So
why,
do you have a list of those laws that you live by?
I can't hear you.
Do you have a list of those laws that you live by?
The laws on the books today,
The laws in the books today?
the civil laws that we live by.
Yeah, and you think that came from the laws of Hammurabi
I
and
think it
code and all
I
that?
think it came from experience, from human experience.
I think you
Human
better,
experience.
I think you better check the history of American law.
I'm sorry, Gary.
I said, I think you better check the history of American law. It comes from biblical laws.
There may be some.
Oh, yeah, maybe all.
Well, I mean, Sure, I believe in the golden rule myself.
Yeah.
That's the only part of the Bible I do believe in.
Okay.
And that's great. I believe in it. I
Appreciate that.
practice it.
Okay,
It's fundamental to my life.
okay.
And yeah, that's biblical.
Can everybody hear what he's saying? Everybody, okay, good. Let's move on. I'm sure you have more to say. The biblical principle is God created man in his image, meaning able to choose right or wrong, good or bad. The only animal created with the spirit by which he can communicate with and love God. Human life is much more valuable than the life of any other species. And that is biblical, because he said, God said to Adam and Eve, go and don't have domain over the world that he created. That's what he wanted them to do. In evolutionary principle, humans are a collection of chemicals fashioned and controlled by natural laws. Morality is an illusion. Ultimately, the only important behavioral law is survival of the fittest. And you survival of the fittest could mean that you organize into a group and to survive, like the United States of America and Russia and whatever other countries who were organized in a group. Evolutionary implication: there are no hard and fast moral laws. Any behavior that fosters the survival and reproduction of the individual with the best genetic makeup is evolutionarily selected. Now, to speak what you said, Harry, you say you have a moral code that has been brought through the years, huh?
It's evolved.
It's evolved through the years, and you have this basic system. Okay, so here's Harry, and here's Fred. He's an illusion, but he's sitting right there, imaginary. He has been brought up differently, and he has a different set of laws that he kind of put together. So, and they conflict with your laws. Who's right?
It depends on the society.
Okay. There's a right or wrong, whether it's societal or not. There's a right and a wrong. Go ahead.
That's an assumption I'd like to see you prove.
What, there's a right and wrong?
Yes.
In an evolutionary world, I can't, because it's not there.
An absolute, you're talking about an absolute
Well, yeah,
right
but
or wrong.
yeah,
You can't prove that.
Okay, the absolutes are, you have to first of all start at the beginning of an absolute statement. The absolute statement is, God created all that we see and everything there is. All right? God, if there was somebody who did create it, then he is the author of that. Now, that's absolute in my belief. In your belief, it's not absolute.
So you think
There's no way to make it absolute.
You think God has a set of rules up there in heaven, that it's legal to do this and it's not legal to do that. It's legal to drink, it's not legal to drink, not moral to drink.
So you're getting outside the biblical concept of law. Is it legal to drink or not legal to drink? Does the scripture comment about whether it's legal to drink or not? No. So therefore, you can do anything you want.
Is it moral to buy a new car when you could spend that money saving some lives in Africa?
I'd say that is something you have to ask God when you met him, because I don't know.
Well, that's why I come here, to get the information.
I don't think that you can say absolutely, depending on the situation, whether it's immoral or moral to buy a new car. I don't buy new cars, I buy used cars, but that has nothing to do with, I think it's a better value, that's all. I would never make a judgment on that. You can set up 50,000, 100 million different questions about it. There's no law that comes from the Bible, okay? And I'm not going to say America's law is all biblical, no, because some of it's ridiculous.
But what you are saying is there exists an absolute moral. Somewhere in the
Yes, there
universe,
definitely does.
there is an answer to, is it moral to buy a new car when you could use the money to save a dozen
Okay, here's
starving
how I
children?
would answer you.
You're saying there's an answer someplace
Yeah, there
in the
is.
universe.
When Jesus was asked, what is the greatest commandment? Okay, they're trying to trip him up. What was the greatest commandment? He said, well, there are two. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and all your soul, and all your might, and love your neighbor as yourself. You take those two pronouncements of what the commandments are, and you apply it to anything you want. So now you're saying, is it moral for you to go buy a new car? Okay? When the people that you are responsible for, like your children, don't have any shoes? Absolutely. because you're not treating them as you would yourself. Okay? Is it moral for you to buy a new car? You think God calls all of us to help everybody else? Like you're talking about socialism, or what like that? You give up all your property so somebody else can have some of your property because you're rich and they're poor? God
Well,
doesn't say
certainly
that.
Christianity makes that argument.
Christianity says be charitable, help other people, love other people, yes. And if somebody's in need, you help them out. Absolutely. That is a Christian principle. No question about it. But buying a new car has nothing to do with it.
Right.